Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Anime Lounge Short Flights. I'm your host, Matt, alongside with my other host, Lance. I want to start this episode by saying thank you to William Ofebu, Bradley Gareth, and Bryce from the anime show. It was such a fun interview, just getting to see behind the scenes of voice actors, getting to know them better, and just having an awesome interview with them was so much fun. And if anybody hasn't seen it, you can check out our library on any of the podcast platforms that you listen to, or you can watch the video interview on our YouTube channel. That link will be in the description. It's something you definitely need to watch. It was so much fun. Lance, I know unfortunately prior commitments made it so you couldn't join us. It's definitely going to have to do it again because it was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it did suck quite a bit. But you know, when I'm there editing everything, kind of felt like I was there anyway, so I'll take that as far as I can. But yeah, I am jealous. That would have been nice to meet Bradley and talk to William again. That was fun last time we talked to him.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. Also check out our YouTube channel for that one, Behind the Voice with William Ofebu. It was a lot of fun that time too. Such amazing people. Please make sure to check out that video because it was definitely a lot of fun. As always, we have an adult beverage of choice, and today, the day we're recording anyway, is Old Fashioned Day. So Lance and I are celebrating in the most Wisconsin way possible with Old Fashions.
It's one of our favorites too, so it worked out perfectly.
Yes, and I had never had orange bitters previously, before not too long ago. I thought it was delicious, so I had to go get some bitters, and yeah, Lance, you were telling me you'd already had this before, so I was like, oh, yeah, well.
Yeah, I've actually known about this for a full year because last year my wife got me a nice set of sugar cubes, orange bitters, all the fruits. She got me these really nice bourbon-infused cherries that went perfectly with them. And
Oof.
yeah, she got me the whole in a nice bottle. Actually, you gave her a bottle suggestion too, or something like that. So yeah, so that's when I knew about the orange bitters. I've known about it for a solid year now.
But it does make an old-fashioned delicious, so no complaints, I bet.
Oh, yeah. And then on top of that, we are both having our usual New Glarus Spotted Cow.
Lance, you want to give us that synopsis of what we're going to be covering today?
Yep. So today, of course, we're going to be covering Season 1 of Hell's Paradise. And I'm going to steal this one right from Jigoku Raku fandom. And it says, Gabimaru is a ninja on death row with one chance to see his wife again by finding the elixir of immortality on a supernatural island and delivering it to the shogun. Which is interesting because the anime says shogunate, but anyway. Standing in his way are fellow convicts and fearsome beasts that roam the island, devouring or killing anyone they encounter. That's a pretty short synopsis for this website.
That and I'd say it's pretty decent. It doesn't really give anything away, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah, we all get the point, and if you've seen this anime, you clearly know what it is. No one's going to forget this one at all.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that one. Lance, I know you've got a really good Lance's Lessons for today. Do you want to let us know what it is?
Yes, so this one is going to come straight from the title, and it's going to be the Japanese word for hell, and that is Jigoku. Jigoku is spelled Jigoku, and Jigoku is very fitting for this because, well, obviously it's coming straight from the title, and when it comes to Hell's Paradise, this island that they gave the name of Paradise is quite the opposite, and it's hell because everybody is just freaking dying just to collect all this tan.
Yeah, which is super crazy. But I do want to kind of talk about the title just a little bit because obviously if you're looking at it, you see it's all one word. So what is the last part of... Because you said Jigoku is hell, so what's the...
Raku, that's kind of like from... I think it means pleasure, or like... They on some kind of variation, they took paradise out of it, so that's kind of how Raku turns into paradise.
Okay.
So Jigoku Raku kind of directly means hell pleasure, hell paradise.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I'm not smart enough to remember what the actual term is, but they just made two words into one word, and there we go. Now we've got Jigoku Raku.
Right. Yeah. So it works, and that's how that really comes out.
Yeah, I think it's a good translation. It definitely kind of sums up what the entire show is about, so I kind of like it.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like usual, let's jump into some Matt's manga mentions to see if there's any differences in this.
NANI?!
Yeah, let's get into some Matt's manga mentions. For anybody who wants to start reading for what would be season 2, I would suggest to start on chapter 45. Obviously, there are 127 chapters in total, so we're about a third of the way there. Very easily could make this into 3 seasons. Also very easily could just make this into like 2 seasons in total, maybe make it like 15 episodes, and now you've got the whole series. I'm very curious how they're going to play out season 2. I'm very excited. Season 1 was fantastic, and I'll be completely honest, they've stayed very true to the manga. There wasn't a whole lot of differences between the anime and the manga. For any of our new listeners, I like to start from the beginning of the series. For any of our new listeners, I like to start from the first episode and work my way through the season. Just makes it easier to take notes. And so let's go all the way back to the beginning. And when Sagiri and Gabimaru are talking while Gabimaru is in the cell, they're talking about various things. And one of the things that you get to see them talking about is Sagiri actually asks Gabimaru about his ninjutsu. So up to that point, we knew nothing about ninjutsu, and I thought that was really interesting. Obviously, because I had already seen the full season, I had already seen this ninjutsu, so it was just something that kind of perked my ears up when I read that. Sagiri also tells Gabimaru that his wife is on a hunger strike until he returns. So that's a very interesting concept on what's going on there. Obviously, that just kind of gives Gabimaru even greater incentive to try and hurry. Probably plays into some of his actions. You see Rokuroda kill the Asaman. For anybody who does not remember, Rokuroda is the individual who kind of cries like a baby. He's the one where Sagiri kind of starts learning how to use the Tao in a sense. Just the one with the cloth mask kind of thing over his face and cries like a baby, the really big one. You find out that Gabimaru heats up his body to burn the oils on his skin to use as part of his abilities. So I thought that was really cool. You actually see the Asaman torturing Toma's brother. So if you remember, Toma is the Asaman who is kind of the traitor. It's the bandit's brother. While explaining the creatures, Yuzuriha said they have no dicks. Just kind of one of those things that she uses to kind of distinguish between them being real people and them not being real people. Obviously, besides, having fish heads and stuff. But I just thought that was a funny thing that Yuzuriha had said. Also, the manga is a lot more mature than even compared to what the anime is. Like you see Yuzuriha's boobs and Yuzuriha saying that, these creatures have no dicks. And just, it's a little more mature. And that's all. Not really an issue. Just the reality of what the manga is. You never get to see Tenza's backstory. I will say not seeing his background story is kind of, I don't know if disappointing is the proper way to say it. It was very good in the anime. I don't think it's a huge difference. I also don't feel like we're missing anything by not having it. It was just something that was left out. And I'm interested to know we're never going to get it in the manga because obviously he's dead up to this point. And I'm just very curious how, if there's going to be any more backstories that we get in the anime that we don't necessarily get in the manga. Some of the things happen in different orders. Like we see Tenza sacrifice himself before Gabimaru is taking his bath. Not really an issue. It's just kind of, it flows a little bit different. You've got these characters, they go progress and then it kind of jumps back in time, and then it sticks on this character and they progress instead of just kind of jumping around back and forth. I will say I'm very up in the air about which one I like. I will say I think I like the watching one story at a time versus kind of skipping around back and forth, because you can almost forget what happens in between some of these instances. If you binge watch it like we do, not that hard it shouldn't be that hard to remember what's going on. But if you're watching this on a weekly basis, it might be a little bit more difficult to kind of keep all the storylines straight. You see the Tenzin training area. It's a pool and a bed. That's essentially what it is. They believe they're training through yin and yang. As you know, one of their training activities is to have sex and share bodily fluids. Not really going to go too far into that one. Obviously, not. You basically need a bed for that one. So that one kind of makes sense. But then the pool, they believe that the best training is training underwater, because it helps you with your lung capacity. You know, you have to use all your muscles to kind of help swim and do all these other things. It makes complete sense. It's a interesting training concept. This basically was one page. If you're not really paying attention to it, it's easy to miss. Again, I had already watched this, so it's something I had kind of been looking out for, because I was like, I'm kind of curious how they do their training. Well, you find out there's sex by a pool. One of the Asaman returns to the mainland and is taken to the shogunate. You find out the plans for the next wave iteration of people. I'm not going to go into it. The very end of the last episode, basically the closing credit scenes, gives away some information. Excuse me, not information. It kind of plays on that is probably the best way to say it. So I'm not going to get into it because it's obviously a spoiler for season 2, but just know what to expect for hopefully the start of season 2. And I'm very interested to know how they do that. So the gate that Sagiri, Yuzuriha, and Santa, and then the tree, that gate that they take is a day's walk from Hoko's village. Hoko, that's his name, excuse me. And just to put it in perspective, how far it took them to walk to the gate of... I'm drawing a blank on what the center is called, but just the center of the island, essentially. Something that you can kind of infer that they do make mention of is that Tao is life energy, which explains why Yuzuriha acts the way she does, why Gabimaru acts the way he does. When they use too much of the Tao, they're essentially wiping away their life energy. And so you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes complete sense on why they're basically dying when they finish or overexert themselves using Tao. Sion goes way more in depth of the conversation after the fight with the Tenzin. So remember when they're in, I want to say the huts, but so Sion is the blind guy, and so they're having this very in-depth conversation. Again, I'm not going to go into it because they might go into it in season 2. Not 100% sure, but just the conversation's a lot different. There's a lot more context that's talked about during this conversation. One thing that he does go into that I can talk to is that he believes there's 5 different types of Tao. It's wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. And then he also goes into how he believes that these elements are essentially weak against separate elements. So essentially it's a star. And then if you're across from that element, you're going to be weak against it, which makes sense why Sagiri and Yuzuriha were good against the one Tenzin, but not necessarily against why Sion wasn't necessarily good against that Tenzin. It's just that they had similar elements, so they would kind of not be super effective against, if you want to put it in a Pokemon reference. And Yuzuriha and Saguri and Yuzuriha were super effective against the Tensen. So I'm very interested in knowing if they do go into that in season 2, because I'll be kind of disappointed. It's a very interesting piece of information that they kind of make mention of, so they have to. Like, it would just make no sense for them not to go into the basically elemental advantage that one has against the other. But that's all I got for Matt's manga mentions. As I had said, not a whole lot of differences. I really can't wait for season 2. I hope they stay as true to the manga in season 2 as they did in season 1, because they just did such a good job. And this series was so fantastic. I really can't wait. The manga was really good, and I can't wait for season 2.
Oh, God, definitely. And what's really funny is when I was editing the interview that you guys had with the voice actors, with William, William spoiled something right in the middle, so I had to go and cut that out. So now I know what's going to happen in season 2. But it was really funny. So I'm not going to spoil it for everyone here. But I will say what he spoiled was pretty damn interesting, and I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, if I had more time, I probably would have finished this manga. It was that good. It really was.
Oh, I bet.
I know you're kind of on a manga journey, especially with all of our short flights. You've been traversing down manga. How you enjoying that?
Quite a bit. One of my short flights, I'm watching Undead Unluck, and I'm reading the manga with that. Mm-hmm. And Undead Unluck, the manga is such an easy read, and I say it's a page flipper, but I'm doing it on my phone, so it's a scroller. So I'm just zooming through it, and I don't want to stop, but I don't want to get too far into the anime and ruin stuff, or get too far to the point where I don't even remember exact bits and pieces that I can be differentiating things between. So I'm having a lot of fun with this one, but I don't want to diminish the other one I'm reading, Ragna Crimson. That one's also amazing.
Yeah.
Great mangas, great stories. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with manga in general.
I'm very happy that you just kind of stumbled upon 2 really good ones.
Oh yeah.
Because it would have been discouraging if you picked a really crappy one, or one that the manga was so different from the anime, and you're just like,
It might have made for good content if the manga was so different, because then it can really be like, all right, this happened, but really it didn't happen. So I can understand. It'd be like one of our biggest episodes. I know we did Twin Stars. That one was insanely different.
Yep.
And of course, Promised Neverland Season 2. That one was insanely different. So
yep.
Those would make for very interesting discussions or at least a segment for that. But other than that, I mean...
But you can't start your true manga journey with one that far different.
Oh, definitely not. You'd be like, okay, then why are there even an anime adaptation off of this if they're not even going to follow what the manga was saying?
Yeah, it would be almost a deterrent at that point. Because I know your personality, you wouldn't turn into one of those manga snobs where they're like, well, actually, and then they push up their glasses.
No, yeah.
Lance doesn't wear glasses, but it's just, I know you wouldn't do that, but there's definitely probably been some people that are like, well, why would I watch the anime if the manga is just so different?
Right. Yeah. So. That would be, 100% understand why it would be discouraging. But off of random manga, let's get back into Hell's Paradise.
Yeah. Got to start off. Favorite character. Because, man, these characters were crazy.
Yeah, and there's so many of them, too. There's plenty. Whatever. Skipping the MC, Gabimaru, he's amazing. Mm-hmm. Love watching him. I mean, he kind of is my favorite character just because it's kind of hard not to love a ninja.
Valid. And he's super awesome.
Oh, yeah. All the way. Just to give someone else a bone, I kind of want to go with Shion.
Okay.
Shion was the blind Asaman, or ass man that our voice actors were calling him for a quick second. Anyway, he was the one that was able to sense all the Tao, immediately. Of course, we saw Gabimaru using ninjutsu, and, that's basically Tao right there, but he was able to sense people like Daredevil can and shit like that. So he was the one that was truly able to start understanding it. How about that?
Yeah, just he was able to use... Honestly, Daredevil's probably the perfect example where he was using it to quote-unquote see and didn't know what it was. And I'll give it to it. It's anime logic, but I'm perfectly fine with it. At least you give somebody that was super strong instead of just nerfing him. You're like, well, we'll do this instead and make him useful.
Yeah. And he's just amazing. He was an awesome fighter. He calm, cool, and collected the whole time and taking massive damage and only, making it out just enough. And so he's awesome. I can't wait to see more out of him. Do you have a favorite character?
Yes, I'm going to go same path as you. Not going to pick Gabimaru because it's way too easy. He's super awesome and his abilities are super cool. Because I would definitely pick Gabimaru in this one.
Yep.
But for the sake of being different, I want to go Yuzuriha.
Okay, yep.
Because she is...
female ninja.
Yep. Very interesting. I am very curious to know what kind of happens later on. Because I feel like she's just doing this because she wanted to live. And if she can find a loophole to get out of there without dying, she's going to take it. And I'm curious how that happens.
Okay, so with you saying that, do you think that because we kind of see that boats are coming in at the end of season 1.
Yep.
Do you see her trying to sneak on a boat and escaping by herself?
No, I see her as... I feel like she's going to stick with Gabimaru at this point.
Yeah.
I feel like she's too critical to the group, but I feel like she's going to find a way to, at the end, figure out a way to get out. I also find her abilities... They make complete sense in the context of who she is as an individual, like her personality. Just because it can be deemed kind of sexual.
Oh, insanely.
And she plays on it very hard. So I thought that was kind of a clever way to bring out kind of fan service while making it relevant to the personality of the person.
Oh, yeah.
Without it just being like, look, here's boobs.
Yeah. I don't know. I got to make my quick jab at the fan service thing. Like every time she starts sweating out her poisons, the only thing I can think of is she just swallowed a tub of jizz and now she's sweating out all that jizz. And I could not get that out of my mind.
I mean, it was very thick, so.
So yeah, just throwing that out there. That's for all. It's done and over with.
I also did enjoy the fact that when Santa was dying, she was the one that kind of helped him pass on.
Yep. Without pain or suffering.
Without pain or suffering, and just kind of letting him... He is dying. She's realistic. She's like, we're not gonna sacrifice what little antidote, whatever it is that we have to save him when Shion needs some recovery stuff. And while yes, I have enough for both of them, I care about myself, which is true to her personality.
Yep. And on top of that, she was saying, even if they did give Senta some medicine, he's still terribly wounded and they have to drag him around anyway. So
yeah,
he'd be dead weight either way.
Yeah, then just the helping him pass on. I thought that was honestly the most redeeming quality that she had in the entire season.
Yep, there's some beauty to that. So
yeah, it was really good.
She went from a heartless person who only cared about herself to, maybe not. She's not so bad.
Yeah, to maybe not. She's not so bad. Yep, that's exactly what it is. I am curious, did you have a favorite Tensen?
Tensen. Well, I guess...
Because we did get to see them all. We didn't really get to get...
Right. The only ones that we truly got to see were Zujin, which was the one with the volcano hair.
Mm-hmm.
And...
We did see Taufa, who is the pink hair.
Yeah, we saw... we get to see them, but we didn't see much out of them.
I thought she fought...
Oh, wait. I think you're right. Let's see, we saw two fights. We saw Juzin, obviously, and then who was the one that turned into the twin heads? Or the two necks going into the single head?
It was Taufa, who is the pink-haired one, and then Jufa, who is the blonde. They're the ones that end up attacking Chobe and his brother Toma, end up throwing them into that ditch. And then the one that got killed by Zujin was Tenza. The pseudo Naruto looking guy with the headband.
Mm-hmm.
Basically we saw three, and then we saw all of them interacting with each other, but that was really about it.
Right.
So I guess it's kind of hard to say which one is your favorite, unless you wanted to cheat and say Mai. Which I don't know if she's actually considered a Tensen or not, but she is a part.
All right, so I think the Tensen that I want to choose is really just going to be the first one that we got to see the most action out of, and that's going to be Zujin, the one with the volcano-looking hair.
Okay. We did see a fourth one. We saw Mudan, which is the one that dies. That's the...
Oh, yeah, that's the one.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's...
So you want to change your answer?
No,
Okay.
I'll stick... Wait, was Mudan the one that transformed into, like, that dinosaur? Or was that... I think that was... No, Zujin was the one that transformed into dinosaur.
Okay,
So
yeah.
Mudan was the one with the twin neck thing.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah.
The almost rose-looking thing.
Right. Now it's all coming back.
Yeah.
No, I'll still stick with Zujin, and that's because how awesome these regenerative abilities of these Tenzin really are.
Yep.
And just the switching between sexes was really interesting. So we had like muscular strength and like, I don't know, speed or something that the female body could have or something.
Yeah, it was like if you wanted power, you went with the man, and if you wanted finesse / using Tao moves, you went with the women.
Okay. Yeah, that would make a little sense.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm going to go with Zoo. What about you? Would you have a preference or anything?
I kind of agree with you, but to pick somebody different, I'm kind of interested in Jufa, which is the blonde-haired one that we saw. He basically took out the two brothers like nothing.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Chobe and Toma.
Yep. So he seems very strong, so I'm very curious. I am also curious about Rien, I think it's Rien.
Rain.
Rien. He was the purple-haired one, and he kind of seemed like he was in charge.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very interested to know more about this individual, this individual Tenzin, because what makes them in charge? Like, why is this one in charge?
I've got some information in my head, and I don't exactly remember how it all got there. Whether it came from the anime or from some accidental research.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm figuring is Rain is like the leader of this group.
Yep.
And everyone else is just a copy or a offspring of himself in a way. Like,
okay.
Everyone is a piece of him.
Okay, that would make the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
If you watched our interview with William and Parad, they kind of go into it without spoiling anything, so it does make sense.
Maybe that's where I'm getting some of this from.
I think I believe that's probably where it is, and yes. So,
but another bit of information that I could throw to you and everyone else is that they are all the same voice actor as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, when I was re-listening to everything again, and when they were having their meeting after Zujin got his ass kicked and everyone's getting having their discussions with each other, the male actor and the female actor or actress play every single character in either their male or female voice. And those two characters are Ian Sinclair and Michelle Roja. So cool. I thought that was very interesting because I was listening and like, wait a minute, those two sounded like the same exact voice. Wait a minute, his voice also sounds kind of similar. So I paused it and quickly looked it up, and sure enough, everybody's voiced by the same exact character. So that just adds more to how they are all the same person, period.
That is a good catch, a very good catch on that one, because I definitely did not catch that at all, and it makes sense. So Good job, good catch.
Yeah, so I was really excited to share that little bit of information.
She's also in, she's Francois in Dr. Stone.
Okay.
Just, I was looking at her behind the character because it's in the fandom page. I was like, oh, okay, interesting. So, yeah, cool.
All right, so you got some interest there. Did you have a favorite part that's coming to you?
Favorite scene. I brought this up in the interview, but my favorite scene, it's Gabimaru the first time you see him do his ninjutsu. The ascetic blaze in the cell, I guess you could say. So the very first episode.
Yeah, it was the very first. Yeah, because he's got Sagari asking to see it, and he's like, nah, I don't want to show you. And then he's about to get attacked. He's like, okay, I'll show you. Yeah.
It's like, so you wanted to see this, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, I thought that was so badass, so cool. Like that moment drew me in for the entire series. So I was like, okay, yep, nope, this is exactly what I wanted to see.
100% agree. That is the definite, I mean, kind of like what Bryce was saying during his interview, like kind of like that slasher porn kind of thing going on where he's getting tortured and not dying. Like,
yep,
this is grossly weird and I'm very interested. But then as soon as he goes into superpowers and the flames are all purples and pinks and blues, and it was really beautiful. And yes, obviously he's like, yeah, I'm 100% in this now.
Yep. Yeah. All of his abilities were really cool. And
Ooh, and speaking of all of his abilities, my first 2 times watching this, I really didn't catch it because things are happening so fast. But when he's fighting Rokuroda in the forest,
Yep.
and he's throwing out attack after attack,
Yep.
he's naming them all off, and he's naming off like 4 or 5 different attacks, and I thought it was really interesting. Like,
Oh, he names off like 12 different attacks. It's a lot.
yeah, it was a lot. Like I know he's like throwing shit and he's adding firepower to it. He's taking a piece of fabric and whipping it to make it as sharp as a blade.
Yep.
Like he's got a lot of techniques that we only get to see in that one instance.
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool that, he is a ninja, so he would need, like, they're realistic moves that he would need in different scenarios.
Uh-huh.
So I thought that was really cool, on top of not just having his ninjutsu abilities.
Right. And then just piggybacking off of that conversation, that's really one of my favorite scenes too, is the Rokuroda scene.
Yep.
When he's just so big and powerful, they can't really figure out how to take him down, and they ultimately figure out that, well, we got to gas him out. And
Yep.
we got to bring a little bit of science into this, and a nice little reminder on why smoke is so toxic to everybody. And it's because the carbon is fusing with your oxygen and depleting your body of that really important oxygen and killing you on the inside. So they're going to set the forest on fire so that he sucked up all the smoke, and then he was going to pass out, and then ultimately so that he can be decapitated. But
yeah, details.
Yeah.
I mean, he would have been set on fire anyway, so it doesn't really change anything.
There was so much going on in that scene. So it was just so awesome to see all those powers and all this stuff coming together, and it was quite a fun episode. And I remember you and I talked along in the past when we were short flighting this, who would win in an arena fight, Rokuroda versus Gabimaru. And
Yep.
I think after talking about all this all over again, I think Rokuroda might actually be on top if it was a arena fight, just nothing but
If
talent.
it was like a dark tournament, open ring kind of fight, yes, it would absolutely be Rokuroda, only because he's just so big. Like he's so big and so strong, and his defense is basically like a million. And while Gabimaru can use his surroundings and use all these other things, he is just at such a huge disadvantage that it's not even fair.
Right.
Now, if it's like a UFC cage match or like a WWE cage match where you can go like 20 feet up in the air and do stuff like that, I could see Gabimaru kind of using his surroundings to win, but not just an open ring match.
Oh, no?
No.
I was going to say the only other way I can see Gabimaru winning is by pure stamina, wearing him down. Maybe Rokuroda just gets too hungry and faints out of just fatigue or something. That's the only thing I can think of.
He Snorlaxes it and just falls asleep.
Yeah.
Just rests. But even during rest, I don't even know if Rokuroda would die.
No. I don't know. He's just vulnerable, cut his throat open or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. It'd be very interesting. I don't think he would win in a just straight up open ring match though. But
I have one very interesting thing that kept passing through my head when I recently rewatched this.
okay.
And that was Gabimaru's like clan leader guy, the one that they showed like 3 times where he was stabbing himself with all these blades, and he put a sword through his head, and it was proof that the elixir existed.
Supposedly.
But Gabimaru saw this, so supposedly he saw it firsthand. But of course, we know at the end of season 1, his memories aren't exactly to be trusted. Anyway, that man.
His name is Iwagakuri, by the way.
Okay, that word. Do you think we're going to see him in season 2 or even at all? Do you think this is going to be a solid memory, or do you think that like he's going to be relevant in this elixir or something?
I think he will be relevant, and I do think we're going to see him in season 2 because we know something is going on at the closing credits of season 1. So I'm curious if maybe him and the shogunate are like working together, and that's why Gabimaru was put on death row, and it's some sort of plot to make sure that Gabimaru dies.
Okay. Do you think there's a reason for Gabimaru dying?
Because he wants to leave.
He did want to leave.
I think that's everything. I think it's going to be kind of like one of those things where in this village, if you are essentially an able-bodied ninja, you either be a ninja for the clan or you die. Like, those are your 2 options.
Right. Yeah, that sounds kind of like you're born into this kind of life. Like, you have no choice. There's no way out.
Yeah, I I would not be surprised if we find out that Iwagakure was the one that like killed Gabimaru's parents just so that he can be an orphan because he saw something in him, and that's why he's an orphan.
I would agree. Yeah, because we saw that his parents were killed and he was adopted or picked up right away like that. Yep. Like maybe that guy, what's his name again? Iwagakure. Maybe he can sense Tan as well, and he saw that in the baby.
Maybe
Gabimaru, and that's why he wanted to steal it. And
that would make sense, because if he was immortal, then he would have had to come to this place. He would have to know how to use Tan to fight the Tensen.
Mm-hmm.
I technically, or he's old enough that he was actually there when whoever started it was there too, and he can't regularly take the is it 10 that they're drinking? The elixir. They can't.
I think Tao was. Oh God, no. Tan is the substance that they need, and Tao is what the power is called. Is that how that? God damn it! I'm confusing the two already. I think
so. But anyway, yes. So maybe the fact that he can't regularly take it like they're supposed to, that's why he is aging, unlike the other ones. So maybe he's actually in line with whoever started this island.
Maybe. Which kind of goes into the next thing I wanted to talk about was the religions.
Okay.
They were talking about Buddhist and Taoist religions put together. And I'm very interested in, because I'm pretty sure I did not pick up on a reason why those two separate religions are coming together for one island.
I took it all as like a cultist leader who's just pulling a bunch of stuff that works for him into whatever he believes.
Okay. Yeah, like just cherry picking good stuff and starting something new altogether.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. I can run with that.
Okay.
I mean, I'm super interested in why all the animals and insects are infected at the same time.
Byproducts of experimentation, because I want to say it's not Santa, and was it Santa that talks about the experimentation, or it was Fuchi?
The guy who chopped off his own arm.
Nope, that was his. So the guy who chopped off his arm, his Asaman was Fuchi.
Oh, the blonde-haired scientist guy.
Yep, it was either him or it was Santa that was talking about the experiments.
Okay, I remember experiments being talked about.
Yep.
I'm just curious on why the whole island itself. Like, if this island has been running for 1,000 years plus.
Yep.
Like, does that experiment mean that all these insects have been infected and like their offspring have been all infected? Because what I was trying to get at was, is all the monsters benefiting off of the Tao or the Tan that's like leaking out and then like.
Well, remember, Yuzuriha says they have no dicks, so.
Okay, so there's no reproduction. Okay, so I'm just saying that the whole island is infected.
Yeah.
Ooh, but if that's the case, when Gabimaru went out on the island to go find food, that food would be infected, which would infect all the monsters and the insects. So maybe this is anime logic, maybe we're diving too deep, but I'm just curious. I want an answer on why the monsters are monsters and why the Tensen are Tensen.
Pure experimentation. That's all I can say about it.
Okay.
Because we could go down this rabbit hole forever, and eventually, without like spoiling ourselves as to why the island became the way it became, the only thing we know from season 1 that we can assume is that all these creatures were experimented on, and that's why they're the way they are.
Yeah,
with no dicks.
Yeah. Yep. They made mention of that, which is funny.
That's probably one of my favorite lines. I am very curious, since we haven't talked about her yet. May. I know I kind of mentioned that, she's a Tensen, but we know she's not because she can't change to a man. So she can't swap back and forth and essentially have sex with herself.
Yeah. Yeah. That was another funny thing. This whole lore about having sex, which is another, I wrote this in my notes. The Tensen brought go fuck yourself to a whole new level. And he's literally, the Tensen are literally fucking themselves so they can reach higher levels of power.
No, they're having sex with each other. Remember, they have a bed next to their training area so that they can just practice all day.
Practice having sex?
Yeah, of course. It's always practice.
Anyway, May.
Yes.
She's very interesting because she appears just to be a regular human.
Yep.
That used to live on this island. probably 1,000 years ago. I would assume that he's. You know what? I don't even know. Do you think she's as old as Hoko and his family was back when they were all humans, or do you think she's different? Do you think she's a child of the Tensen that like the Tensens gave birth with themselves and produced May? That's interesting.
I don't think she is an offspring of the Tensen, but I believe she's an offspring of some sort of experimentation. I don't believe she's a child. I think she reverted to a child probably because she was attacked for essentially not submitting herself to whatever those creatures were so that they could practice the essentially the sex stuff.
Yeah, those there's the dumb monsters and the smart monsters.
Yeah, they were the smart monsters, but they look like bugs still.
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting that they still had some variations of some other animal that they could have potentially used to be.
I thought that was really good of them to kind of, instead of making them humanoids, they made them creatures with human characteristics, personality traits instead.
Right. I mean, by definition, it's basically humanoid as well. But I get what you're getting at.
Yeah, just not making them look like people and with some like almost demi-humans.
Right.
But to get back to Mai, I think she reverted as a child because she got attacked and basically her power shrunk her down to a child. And then, what was it, Hoko? Yeah, Hoko essentially just, what do you want to call it? Adopted her at that childlike state. And then she almost refused to grow up.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I like your idea about her probably reverting maybe to some self-defense mechanism to some degree and went into that child form.
Yeah, because she does grow older in the middle.
Like instantaneously. So there's no step-by-step process. It just happened.
Yeah, so plus, to be completely honest, I don't want to even like think about the creatures trying to have sex with like even a middle-aged child.
True, yeah. Okay, so, let's get a little bit more mature about this.
Yeah, let's just make her an adult for the simple fact that they were trying to have sex with her.
Right, I like it. Great. So she was super interesting because she's got all this power.
Yep.
She seems to know how to use it instinctively.
Yep. Do you think she's going to play a vital part in Gabimaru succeeding? Because I feel like that's what's going to happen towards the end of the series. Towards the end of the series is that he's going to succeed in some manner.
Yeah, she's definitely going to be playing such a vital role in season 2, or at least the finale of whatever this island is going to be.
Yep.
She's way too important.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like she's going to be maybe not the reason why he succeeds, but in conjunction with the reason why he succeeds.
That, or maybe I'm just going to assume Rain's the purple-haired leader of these Tensen. Maybe I will say that like in order for him to reach his super god state form or something, he's got to absorb May, and that's going to be like the final boss. I can see either Mai being a teammate to go 2-on-1 for the final fight, or she being the catalyst for a final evolution.
Okay, that would make sense.
Oh, that's where my mind's going, so just go with that.
Yeah, no, I can totally see that happening. We would be remiss if we didn't talk about Toma and Chobe, because one, Chobe is kind of going through a metamorphosis of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very curious to know what happens there. He was able to instinctively start using his 10.
Yeah, like from 0 to 60.
Yeah.
Toma did multiple times say he adapts very, very quickly, and we are seeing that clear here.
Yeah.
There was 0 instances where he's even attempted to use any kind of 10, but like...
Bam, here it is.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to figure out what happens there, because something had to have started this.
Yes. And he's got those weird root-like tattoo things appearing on his neck, so he's the only one that's having some kind of physical difference about himself, so I'm super interested in what that even means.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, like, Toma's there. I feel like they're going to be super important characters, so I want to know, essentially, why. Like, what are they going to do to make themselves be this important.
Do you think Toma's going to remain important or even live? Because he's not showing any signs of using any powers.
I could see Toma dying, and that's the catalyst that would Chobe needs for something.
I agree.
I'm still looking forward to it. Unfortunately, we have no idea when season 2 is coming out, so we gotta wait.
Right. Yeah, as of right now, it's announced that there is such a thing, but there's no date.
And I really don't want to spoil myself by reading the manga because the anime was so good.
Yep.
It did such a good job.
Yeah, it was beautiful, and you couldn't take your eyes off it at all.
Yeah, definitely. Watching it through a second time, like I was just as entertained as I was the first time.
Yep, 100%.
Is there anything else you really want to talk about as far as Hell's Paradise?
I don't know. I hope Sagari learns to get confidence in herself, and
oh yeah, we definitely have to talk about her. Shit, sorry.
And she kind of unlocks something because is she learning these powers? Like she's the one that made it obvious that it almost seems like all of these Tenzin have like a weakness. Like each individual one has their own specific weakness, and she was, what was it? Mudan's the red-haired one, I think.
Yep.
His weakness that one's weakness.
So I do go into that, if you remember from the manga mentions how basically the elements play weakness against each other. So I'm curious how they're going to explain that in the anime.
Right. Like, is it going to be a 1-for-1? Like, Sagari was strong against Mudan. Is Nurugai, the little girl with her supposed healing faction, is she going to be somehow a yang to somebody? Like, I'm just interested in if there's going to be a 1-for-1 for everybody in a future fight.
I am curious. We do have, how many more Tenzin? So there were 7 Tenzin, now there's 6. I am curious how they're going to play into that because we have essentially 4, maybe 5 characters besides, which, maybe the 5, one each kills one of the Tenzin, and then you get the main boss Tenzin, and he has like no weaknesses or something like that. Now, I'm very curious how they're going to do it. I do really want to know if they're going to really explain how the elements play into it.
Yeah.
Because they kind of make mention, but they really don't at the same time.
Right, like they just kind of stumbled into it, and nobody has an answer for why or anything.
Yep. So we definitely need to talk about Saguri because she's a very important person to this entire series. Do you think? Well, let me ask this question. Do you think Gabimaru truly is married?
At this point, I kind of want to say no.
Okay, so if you think he's not married, do you think him and Saguri are going to end up together at the end? Do you think that's how it's gonna be?
Yeah, I kind of think so because Saguri saw Gabimaru's soft side and what he could be.
Yes.
Like, yeah, right now we're seeing him as the Hollow.
Mm-hmm. Literally
the Hollow. Yeah. So she can see what he can.
She's seen every side of him. That's true.
Well, she hasn't seen the Hollow, like this current Hollow yet.
That's true. That's very true.
So as soon as she runs into him and sees that he no longer is who she thought he was.
But is she going to be the reason why he essentially breaks out of his holification?
I mean, they're making us feel like Saguri and Gabimaru have a future together.
That's very true.
I don't know why. My mind always says Saguri's going to die before the season conclusion. But that's just where my mind always goes. So I'm just going to be nice and say, like, yes, there is no actual wife.
Okay.
She actually died in the past, and that's why Gabimaru was trying to leave. And he finds happiness through Saguri. Okay. Let's just go that route.
Okay. All of that makes sense. I am going to disagree with all of it.
No, that's totally fine. I literally just pulled that out of my ass. Saying it out loud makes it a whole lot different than just thinking bits and pieces.
I think his wife is real. And I also, I really want this to end with him and Saguri just kind of needing each other in the sense that they know they're better with each other, and that's it. Like, there's
I like that.
No romantic interest with either of them, and it's literally just kind of almost like best friends, where it's like, my life sucks without you, but that's it. Like,
yeah, I like that. I like that one a lot better.
I just,
at least a companionship that Yeah, that doesn't need to be romantic.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's what it's going to be, where she like might question if she does have romantic feelings, and then she's like, no, actually, it's the companionship of we're essentially pushing each other, and that's what it is. Kind of like all of her and the Asaman. So it'll be very interesting to know how they do that, because I don't think she's going to die at the end either.
No?
No, I think she's going to live. Yeah, I think it would be kind of a disservice to kind of the entire series if they end up killing Sagiri. You end up finding out that his wife was never alive, like was never a thing. I feel like it is a plot twist, but it's, I don't know, I feel like I'd be kind of mad if that was if that was what actually happened.
I pretty much agree. It's just always, to me, the thing that needs to happen to make the story so crazy is someone important has to die and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
That's just kind of where I went. That's just where my mind goes, whatever. It's
yeah.
okay.
No, it's shitty Game of Thrones. That's all that is.
Yeah. Everyone dies.
Yes. One more thing. Got to talk about it because it's just been something we've been doing. And I think it's just something we've been doing. And I kind of want to continue. Overall, what did you think of the series? Of season 1?
Season 1, I think this deserves pretty high ratings. I would say this is a 9 out of 10.
Okay.
There really isn't any low points. You're always interested in what's going to happen.
Okay.
You know what? Maybe I'll bump it down to like an 8.5.
Okay.
It's just because I know we didn't really talk about it, but when all the powers started getting pushed into everybody at the end, it felt super forced. Chobe got his powers at the same exact time that Shion was explaining his powers.
Yep.
Sagri was figuring out a little bit. Gabimara was figuring out a little bit. It's just, there might be beauty in that harmony of everything happening at that time, but at the same time, it felt forced. And maybe that could be a reflection on binging it all over again.
Maybe, because if you, as we had during our Bleach conversation, where it was like you're doing it one at a time, it doesn't feel...
One episode a week, yeah.
It doesn't feel as instantaneous for everything happening at the same time.
Right.
I kind of get what you're saying, where it almost seemed like a cop-out to make everybody to figure it out at the same time.
Yeah, cop-out's a good word.
But I don't mind it because, let's be completely honest, if they would have made it like one person figure it out, then another person, it just would have prolonged the series for no real reason.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind it for the simple fact that, as I had mentioned in the manga mentions, this is 127 chapters. So it's short. And so by basically skipping the filler-esque of having everybody figure out this ability at separate times, it condenses the entire series.
Right.
So I had no issues with it.
So yeah, just 8.5 to 8.7.
Okay.
I think that's, what are you feeling?
I'd probably 8 to an 8.5. It was so good. It really was. I will say it's not like anime of the year rating, but it's like in contention. Like I would completely understand people being like, yep, nope, that is worthy of anime of the year. I get it. It's fantastic. The characters are well written and the story is very original. I really liked their abilities, but I would also understand being like, it's just, I can't say it's missing something because I have no idea what it would be missing, but I feel like there's something that it would need to be like, oh, yep, this is a 10 or like
maybe a little. I feel like it almost needs a slightly slower build up on certain characters, like just enough to sprinkle in there to make it a little good. Like what I was saying, like when they were forced, it felt like their powers are being forced in at the last moment.
Yeah,
like this. Like a 24 episodes for this first season would have been way too long. Yeah. And 12 seems way too quick.
Yep.
It's kind of hitting that weird spot.
Yeah, I do agree. I will say, besides the visual aspects of the colors, I did like the manga more.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it hit all the notes you want out of a manga, especially for a more mature manga.
Okay.
A lot of hard, deep colors, deep, sharp lines. It was really fantastic. I'll be completely honest, this would probably be something I'd recommend for you to read.
Okay.
Because it was so well done. It was really good. And as I had said, you had your mature moments while not feeling overdone.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I mean that's good to know because this manga was very popular.
Yep.
And it is officially done now, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah,
It's concluded.
Yeah. So can't wait to see. I just can't wait to see what happens next.
Yeah, I completely understand why William was essentially gushing over it and then telling everybody that you need to read this because it's true. This series is so good, and I definitely recommend it. Highly recommend this series because it is very good. That's really all I got for Hell's Paradise. Do you have anything else?
Nah, I'm pretty tapped out. We already talked about what we would like out of the future, even if we didn't say specifically a season 2, but we have our wants and our hypotheses.
Yep. Quick question. So as I had mentioned in Manga Mentions, the first season covered 45 chapters. There are 127 in total. Do you think this is going to be 2 seasons or 3?
I would like to imagine that from the anime community complaining so hard about Promised Neverland Season 2 and taking a complete shit on 100 plus chapters, this should turn into a 3-season deal.
Yeah.
And that makes it super easy to say that because there's so much action going on that the anime can prolong all these manga scenes. So
easy. Yeah.
So an easy 3 seasons.
Yeah, I do agree. I feel like if they gave us 20 episodes for like season 2, I'd probably be okay with that. Where if they skipped, I obviously haven't read the manga, but if they skipped some like minor details that weren't beneficial, I could understand it. But I do agree. I think 3 seasons is the right number for this because, as you said, make some action scenes last a little bit longer. Bam. There's the 82 chapters.
Right.
Yeah, the 82 chapters that are what's left of the series, and you're done. Easy 41 chapters a season and call it a day.
Yeah, easy enough.
Hey Toasties, I'm Missy, here with my bestie Johnsy.
Hey y'all.
Do you like mind-blowing crime cases, spooky tales, and debating theories?
Well, what a coinky-dink, so do we. Grab your beverage and be a part of our Toasted Shenanigans on your favorite podcast app.
You can even send us a story or drink suggestion. Hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or at toastedshenanigans.com.
Now let's get into some just regular anime talk. How's your One Piece journey going?
One Piece?
The laugh tells me not very far.
It's yes and no.
Okay.
Because we've been trying to crush a lot of stuff and trying to get ahead on some episodes for just podcast life in general.
Behind the scenes, yes.
Behind the scenes stuff. I've crushed quite a bit of episodes compared to the last one that I had talked about. I finished that God arc, up in the clouds. We're done with that. I don't remember his name right now anymore. It's already been a minute, but we're done with him. After we were done with the sky, we came crashing back down, and we talked.
Is that how that works?
Essentially, that's pretty much how it happened. They came crashing down. They got kicked off of the sky, and they came falling down, and they fell down for a little bit, and then they started floating on an inflatable octopus.
Alrighty then.
And then it slowly depleted its own air. And then as it approached, the main water line, they crashed into another marine base, and they had like a whole arc going through them, and that was semi-interesting. It was filler. And then after that, they got to another island that I literally just finished this arc this morning. So that's kind of funny. And this whole arc was the Foxy pirate arc. And
so a lot of fan service? Is that
no, absolutely not. The Foxy is a dude, and he's got like this vampire look about him, like especially with his hair.
But his name is Fox. Like I think of foxes.
Yeah, right, but it's not. So this dude he's got this like scheme where he goes and battles other pirates to like these games, and then if they win a game, they get to steal a pirate member of the opposite team. So that's why his crew is like 500 big, and it makes this whole deal. It is such a silly 1990s filler arc, and I'm so glad I'm finally done with it because it took a minute, and it took me a long time, especially because we've been just slamming so much anime behind the scenes as well.
Yeah.
So besides what we were watching, that's my One Piece. I'm finally done with round 1 of the Foxy Pirates.
So do you know what episode you're on?
Yeah, so I left off on episode 221, and if anybody is a pirate watcher, everybody is just lost their memories, and they're trying to figure out how they get their memories back, and they're connected to this island. They all fell asleep, and they all lost their memories except for Robin. So I'm interested to see how this is going to turn into an arc.
How many episodes are there? Can you see how many episodes there are right now?
I'm going to have to Google that.
Okay.
I'm not going to go through Crunchyroll and try to
yeah, that's right. I'm thinking of Funimation where it would tell you how many episodes there were through the power of the internet.
As of today's recording, there is 1,088 episodes.
So you're just under a quarter. Well, you could call a quarter of the way there.
Quarter to a fifth, somewhere around there, 220. Yeah, I suppose I'm just under a quarter. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So far, are you enjoying it?
It's fun. This is like I say in the past. This is something you can just throw in the background and just enjoy. There's so much random filler arc stuff that's going on right now in the beginning. It's really everything that we just went through. This whole tournament arc with Foxy was literally nothing. We didn't gain a character. We didn't lose a character.
Yeah, that you didn't gain or lose anything.
It was literally nothing. It's like Bleach. You can skip that entire arc.
Okay. Got it.
So yeah, that's my Bleach. That's my Bleach. That's my One Piece. So that's where I left off on that. I did manage to get through a couple more anime on the side just for fun.
Okay. I do want to make mention, we did just finish the fall season.
Yes.
So that, just for anybody that's still listening at this point, put a frame of reference on timelines. We just finished the fall season not that long ago. And
yeah, we're January of 2024. The year just started, so fall has just finished.
Yep. So when you say you just finished stuff, did you just finish stuff for the fall season or just in general?
Oh, I was gonna say some side stuff.
Oh, even side stuff, man. You're better. Well,
I can casually listen to some stuff.
Oh man.
So
what?
I talked to you about this on the side, like the Sacred Blacksmith.
Okay. Yep. How are you enjoying that? I thought it was pretty good. Like, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I liked it.
Mid. I would say it's like, if you were to put 3 tiers, like good, mid, and then just bad, I'd put it on like the higher end of mid.
Agreed. I agree.
It was good. The characters were interesting. Don't watch it in public. I will say that.
Yeah. I think it was episode. I think when I was texting you about it was like episode 2 or 3.
Yeah.
You get a boob.
Boobs, just right there.
Uncensored right there. And then they show the same exact scene again in like episode 10-ish or so. So yeah, that you get a boob. So
yeah, or boobs.
So without going into detail, just in case it becomes a future episode, it was a good show.
It was pretty good. Yeah,
it was mid, but it was higher mid.
Yeah, I enjoyed it so far. I think I'm like 6 episodes in.
Oh, okay. So good thing I didn't spoil it for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You're going to get that boob again in the future.
Oh, never complain about boobs.
Another one I was watching was Black Summoner.
Okay, I have not watched that one. Is that one good?
This was also kind of like on the higher end of mid.
Okay, interesting.
Another isekai. A dude gets born, I think it was an isekai. Yeah, a dude gets born into a world, and instead of like all these superpowers, he has these powers of like, he's basically like a Pokemon master. He can defeat someone, and then he can capture them, and then after he captures them, he can summon them. Okay. Now he doesn't go as crazy as capturing everybody, but there is like 5 guys that he ends up capturing. He captures a slime. He captures like a Dark Knight that's supposed to be super powerful, and a couple others. It's an interesting story. There's a lot of anime logic going into it. It's
okay.
It's good.
Okay.
It's interesting enough. I was glad that I at least watched and listened to it.
Okay. I will say you're doing a much better job than I am, but I watched so many shows in the winter season. It was crazy.
Back when you're watching like
Or excuse me, the fall.
vending machine one?
No, so this fall season, I'll let you finish, and then I will talk about the shows I covered just for short flights, and then I'll talk about the other shows that I was watching on top of that.
Oh, yeah. I feel like there's one more in there, but yeah, maybe it was actually just.
Well, then
Black
you're
Summoner.
also watching your shows for short flights, which were which ones again?
Right.
So
my short flights were Sundays were Ragnar Crimson. I
Yep.
absolutely love that. That one's continuing on into this current season.
Yep.
It's going to be a 24 episode show.
Yep. You happen to pick 2 24-episode ones.
Yeah. Ragnar Crimson and Undead Unluck were both continuing back-to-back seasons, which great. I'm reading the manga and watching the anime, covering them both on short flights.
Hey, maybe we'll make my life easier and have you cover manga mentions.
I was thinking about that, so if you ever need a quick episode, I already got my notes for all the manga.
Yeah, we'll have to
Reverse roles.
We'll have to see how this season ends.
Right?
Probably happening though. It seemed pretty interesting.
Yeah, I would definitely suggest both of these. So yeah, Ragnar Crimson and Undead Unluck.
Okay.
And I watched Goblin Slayer season 2.
Okay.
Okay, now that we're done with it, I can finally say it. It was so mid.
Okay. Very disappointing. Got it.
Yeah.
I think I watched like the first 4 episodes and I'm like, yeah, I can't keep watching this. Only for the fact that I was watching so many other things that I just couldn't. It wasn't bad up to that point.
Yeah, there was nothing to look forward to. They left you at some tiny, tiny cliffhangers.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the next episode started, instantly done. No problem whatsoever. Like, where are we even going with the storyline? This story makes no sense. It's literally...
dinosaurs and beach scenes.
Yeah. It's cliche after cliche. It might as well... You would have been better off making a Monster of the Week out of this. That's how mid this was.
That's so disappointing because season 1 was amazing.
Yeah. I'd almost say don't even bother with season 2.
That's upsetting.
Keep your imagination open for enjoying the lore of the show.
Okay. So what else? Anything else?
So that covers my short flights.
Technically, you covered Jujutsu as well.
Oh yeah, I covered Jujutsu with you.
We swapped off. So.
Yeah, we took turns on that one. That one obviously was an amazing series. Loved every single episode.
Yeah. Do you understand why I love that arc, by the way?
100%.
Yeah, my favorite arc.
Dude, Sukuna is so goddamn amazing.
Yes.
I'm so sad we can't spoil it.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say that. Okay.
Game of Thrones-esque, definitely.
Yeah, lots of stuff going on. And then I'll finish this off with saying, of course, watch Dr. Stone. One of my all-time top 3 anime, I would almost say. Love Dr. Stone.
That's really funny because I was talking to somebody at work about anime and we were talking about Freyrin, which I can talk about that one as well.
Yeah. You've been
but
gushing.
I brought up Dr. Stone and he was watching Dr. Stone as well. You get towards the end of the season and you're like, how? How is this going to happen? What are we doing at this point? And him and I are both like, I have no idea. But then we both joked that it would take 6 months and Senku's going to figure it out. It's going to take summertime and we're going to have the solution to the problem in 6 months. That's what's going to happen in Dr. Stone.
There's going to be something. There's definitely going to be a time skip here because without spoiling anything, I cannot wait. I can't wait to see how they even attempt to do this.
I loved the full circle moment too. So for anybody who hasn't watched it, you're going to have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. And that's okay. You're going to see it and be like, oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. It's going to be the beginning of season 3. I can't wait for that moment to happen.
I definitely got a little teary when it happened.
Oh yeah, I was sitting there the whole time say it. Just say it. Don't make us think about it. I already know. It's automatically obvious. Just say it. Yes. Okay, now we know what step 1 season 3 is going to be.
Yeah, it was so fantastic. I completely agree. That was one of the shows that I was watching on the side. I love Dr. Stone. It's so good. It's so original.
Yep.
So unique. And I'm upset that it's over. The manga is over only for the simple fact that there is a conclusion.
Yeah, right. So at this point, we know it's either going to end at season 3 or season 4.
Yeah,
it might
somewhere.
even be just a really long season 3. We don't know.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not concurrent with the manga, so I have no idea where it is in the anime. But yeah, it's so good. I love it.
Yep.
Anything else you're watching, or that you?
No, I think that's everything I've consumed on my life. Just the stuff on the side, what we're covering, and short flights. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? What have you consumed?
So Manga Mentions was a lot.
Yeah, you did a lot this past season.
So I watched Freyren because I was like, okay, no, there's like the hype kept going. I'm like, no, there's no way like this show can be that good. Because we were on like 3 weeks later and people were still talking about it. I'm like, okay, let me see what's going on with Freyren. And it is my choice of anime of the year. It is that good. It has literally everything I want in a story, in the character building, in just the artwork. It's so amazing. That is my choice for anime of the year. It was amazing. Honestly, I wouldn't say I liked. It's really hard to compare it to like Jujutsu, because Jujutsu is big budget, like CGI fighting, while Freyren has some of that. It's more of world building, story, characters, more story building. It does have some fight scenes. It has some amazing fight scenes, but just I loved it. I've loved every second of Freyren, and I'm so glad I started watching that. So that was one. Jujutsu obviously was another one. Shield Hero season 3 was fine. No real issues with season 3. 100% better than season 2.
Okay.
But that's not really saying much.
All right.
We obviously covered season 2. Season 2, I don't want to say it was terrible, but it was not great.
It was a step down compared to season 1. That's for sure.
Yes. It's the you forgot a step, like going downstairs in the dark kind of step down.
Yeah.
It was just not very great. And season 3 was definitely a step up 100% compared to season 2, but just not as good as season 1. It was still good. I felt like it was a little rushed in certain moments, but I'm very curious to see what season 4 happens, because season 4 has been confirmed.
Okay, great.
Another one was Spy Family. Probably one of my favorites, just personally. There's literally nothing about Spy Family that says it needs to be a top tier anime, to be completely honest.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree.
But I love Spy Family.
It's just so wholesome and...
Yes. Probably one of my favorite points of the entire season of Spy Family was you finally got to see Yor being the Thorn Princess.
Great.
So, without spoiling anything, that was probably one of my favorite moments of the entire series, or the entire season.
Perfect. That's what I was looking forward to.
I watched MF Ghost. I think that was the last one I watched for short flights, besides Jujutsu. Yeah. MF Ghost, I really enjoyed MF Ghost. I don't know, it might be something we cover, just because to be different.
Sure. I mean, I wouldn't be too opposed to it. It'd be 100% different in my situation.
The story was really good. I loved the sequel of Initial D, which is what MF Ghost is.
Oh, so if we do cover it, do I need to watch the prequel?
No.
Or maybe if we do cover MF Ghost, maybe I can just casually listen to it and then we can do a real dive into MF Ghost.
Yeah, it's something, while not necessary to watch, there's some references to Initial D that make more sense in knowing the story of Initial D. But if you're just like, oh, okay, yep, that's somebody. They basically explain all of the references.
Okay.
But it's just more nostalgia knowing about Initial D. Like,
Okay.
that's what it is.
So it's like what Cobra Kai did with the Karate Kid. You didn't necessarily need to watch Karate Kid because the references they used were all pretty much explained.
Yep.
But had you known the references, it like hit you that much harder. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. That's probably right, nail on the head kind of thing. And then the last series that I did watch was Tokyo Revengers season 2.5.
Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know my joke, the internet says it's season 3. Hulu or Disney Plus, depending on your region, has it under season 2. So I say that it's season 2.5 because, well, it's neither 2 or 3. So here we are.
Right.
But I watched that, and honestly, that was everything I wanted in Tokyo Revengers.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Awesome. Can't wait to... I haven't started it yet, and I know you were talking it up so bad. And I'm really looking forward to it.
It's so good. I absolutely loved Core 2, Season 2 of Tokyo Revengers as somebody who really enjoyed Season 1 of Tokyo Revengers.
Okay.
I thought Core 1 of Season 2, while good, was, at per usual, kind of a step down.
Yep.
But it was just more stuff that I was coming to expect, and that was probably part of it. But Core 2, on the other hand, it was just so good. It was really good. A lot of twists and turns. I would legitimately go on Hulu all the time being like, is it out yet? Because I wasn't really paying attention to the days of the week it came out. So I would just every day just go on Hulu and be like, oh, it's out. Okay, well, let me start watching this now.
I'm too lazy to Google it, so I just want to just be surprised.
Yeah, pretty much. I would watch it every morning when I'm eating my breakfast. Just kind of, okay, well, here it is.
Yeah.
And it was so good. It absolutely was very good. I will completely understand why some people won't like it, but as somebody who does like Tokyo Revengers, you're absolutely going to enjoy Core 2 of Season 2.
Perfect. Well, that's enough for me. I can't wait to eventually cover this.
Yeah, we're absolutely going to have to cover it because, well, we both enjoyed it. So
right.
But yeah, I've watched so much during the fall season. It kind of insane. Like, to really think about it, because I know we were talking about it. We're like, oh yeah, watching this.
A little bit of this, but like, I'm doing it then on like the side time. But
yeah, this is probably the most anime I've watched all at once.
And yeah, in like one time frame, this is the most anime I've ever consumed in my life.
Yeah.
These past 4 months.
And honestly, I really enjoyed it. Like, it was a lot of fun. It really was. Because of short flights, it was a lot of work, but it was still a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree.
The winter season is, comparatively, it's going to be a breather, because spring, you know what's coming out in spring, right?
No.
We've got Bleach, Core 3. We've got Mashuka Tensei, Core 2. We've got... There's a lot. There is like a shit ton. There is an absolute lot of things coming out in spring. And let me just kind of look. So we've got Konosuba Season 3. We've got Demon Slayer Season 3. We've got Slime Season 3.
All right.
We've got Hero Season 7, My Hero Academia Season 7.
Ooh.
We've got Mashuka Tensei Core 2 Season 2. We've got Kaiju 8.
Oh, I can't wait for that one.
Right?
That's been hyped so much. I can't wait for that.
Right? Yeah, I'm absolutely looking forward to it. We've got a remake of Spice and Wolf, which I never watched it, but I know it was insanely popular.
Okay. I don't know much about that one at all.
I know we've got... I already talked about Bleach Core 3. So, but I mean, we're talking 3, 6, 7 shows
that already stand out to us alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be some more that are going to be very interesting that I know we're probably going to cover because I just can't stop. So spring of 2024 is going to be amazing. And so just almost call winter of 24 a deep breath of what's going on. What are you going to be covering for short flights in the winter season? Like, just in case anybody hasn't checked out our YouTube channel for that yet.
Right. So in case anyone is interested, I am going to be continuing both Ragnar Crimson and Undead Unluck.
Good choice. Good choice.
If you haven't started them, start them. They're both amazing. And obviously they have English started already, so you can get a little bit of start. But I'm going to continue episodes 12 through 24 on both sets of those seasons. Nice. And then I'm going to be covering Metallic Rogue for a third episode, for a third series. Okay. So I'm interested to see how that one's going to be. It's looking like it's going to be, well, by the time this episode releases, episode 1 of Metallic Rogue will already be out, and I'll have my short flight on it. It's looking like it's going to be like a mech kind of anime, and I know that's not quite in my wheelhouse, so I'm going to venture a little bit out in that aspect and widen my taste and some stuff and see what this is all about. Interesting. What do you... Just checking out the icon on it. Yeah, it seems very interesting. I mean, yeah, it looks interesting, so I'm hoping it's going to be awesome. So, yeah, we'll go with that. What are you covering this season? So, obviously, have to continue Freyrin. Not a choice. Absolutely not a choice. I'm also going to be covering Classroom of the Elite Season 3.
Have you watched season 1 or 2?
I almost started season 1 today, just on the side, just in the background stuff.
Okay. It is a slice of life suspense.
Yep, that's what Crutcher was basically telling or describing it as.
A psychological thriller. Very good. It is very good. Highly recommend that one. And then I'm going to be covering Mashal season 2. I love season 1. I love Harry Potter. So just kind of a no-brainer on my part.
Oh, sure.
You got to continue. So cannot wait to get more of MASH. And I'm really excited that we just recently covered Mashal season 1 because it makes it really fresh and I can enjoy season 2 because I'm really looking forward to it. Yep. And the icon for season 2 is very interesting. So I'm curious what is going on with that one. But I think that's all I'm going to be watching. I might watch another show just depending on, and then the last one that I'm going to be covering is Solo Leveling.
Oh, yeah, that's got a big hype around it.
Yes, absolute hype. I'm very curious I'm really hoping it lives up to the hype. It's been, 2 years?
Uh-huh. Oh, yes, I was probably say 2. Solid 2 years of the internet talking about it.
So just for that simple fact, I have to watch it. It doesn't necessarily need to be the best thing ever, but the fact that nobody can stop talking about it for this long, I have to know what's going on.
I agree.
So do you think that you're going to potentially start watching that, or are you going to wait for it to get dubbed? And
depending on,
it comes out on Saturdays, by the way.
Yeah, I won't watch it day of.
Okay.
But I will, if I go on a treadmill, I'll throw it on there.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, it seems very interesting, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm very interested in myself. I'll give it obviously my first 3 episodes, and we'll see where that goes from there.
Yeah, can't wait. But that's really all we got. I have to say, again, thank you to William Ofebu and Bradley Gareth for their time and doing the interview. It was so much fun. Again, for anybody who hasn't checked it out, check out the link in the description for our YouTube channel, or just look at our library for the previous episode covering the interview, because it's definitely an awesome time. And thank you everybody for listening this far. Please make sure to check out the Anime Show on Facebook and Instagram. Check out all the awesome anime content that they have on there. Definitely cannot miss anime content on there. Please subscribe to us, leave a 5-star review, let us know that you are enjoying our content, and have a good one, everyone.
Later, guys.